I've made games in many different programming languages. C# with Unity, Lua with Roblox, and even JavaScript are some of the languages that I've used to make games in the past. But in this video, I decided to try making a game in a language not really designed for making games, Python. I didn't know it at the time, but this would be much harder than I thought since there aren't any game engines that use Python, meaning I had to write all the complex stuff like drawing sprites and collision detection by hand. Anyway, here's how it all went. Firstly, I created a new folder in Visual Studio and made a new Python script. I needed a way to create a window on my computer for the game, and I found this library called Pygame, which allowed me to draw sprites and shapes onto a screen. This was perfect for game development, so I began to learn how to use it. The first game I made was this super simple platformer where a red block jumps around on some green platforms. This took a few hours, but now that I knew the basics, I could move on to making a proper game. The idea I had for my game was a sort of top-down golf game where you hit a ball with your mouse and try and get it into a hole. So the first thing I did was create a ball to draw on the screen, then record where the player clicks and shoot the ball in that direction. Then I added a line that could act as a wall for the player to bounce off of. I had to use some complex maths to calculate the closest point on the line to the ball, so that in the future I could calculate what angle the ball would bounce off at. Using that information, I could use the direction the ball was traveling to calculate how it should bounce off. After implementing that, the collision was working fine, so I drew a bunch more lines on the screen to make a simple level. Now I wanted to move on to a level creator, which would both help me easily create levels for the game and also be a fun way for players to make their own levels. The first thing I did is create a separate area in the game, then create a script that drew lines in the shape of a cube wherever the player clicked. This all worked great, so I moved on to adding more shapes for the player to add in their levels, such as triangles and half blocks. Then I added special spawn point and goal blocks that could only be placed once per level. These controlled where the player spawned and where the player had to get to be the level. At this point, the game was working fine in terms of code, but it looked pretty basic, so I designed some sprites in Photoshop and figured out how to draw them onto the game instead of primitive lines. It took a while to get working, but eventually the level creator was looking much better with the new sprites. Then I added some sprites to the main menu to make it look a little more finished. The last thing I had to do was create some official levels. I did this using my own level creator, then I created a level select menu. There are 3 official levels in the game, but almost infinite possibilities with the level creator. This was a pretty interesting project to make because I've never made a game in Python before, but now I know how to, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Anyway, thanks for watching until the end of the video, and until next time, goodbye.